a outdoor live stream. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do. I made the I did the last night around this time. We prepped the canvas, and this is a red. I think I'm going to turn it around the other way. It's a red underpainting. I'm kind of tethered to this microphone cable here. I think I want it this way instead. And we're going to clamp everything down. There we go. I'm using this other blank canvas as like a prop block. The art supplies were supplied to me from an old friend of mine. Welcome, Viola, welcome. I can't actually see the screen, and so so this is not I'll periodically look at the screen. And so we're just going to do some background. We're going to have to make a decision here about where the background line is, but I'm going to start here first by adding in some sky colors. And so we're just going to use a tapping motion here. So it makes like a drum beat sound. I've been wanting to try a red underpainting for quite a while. But you know, we can get a sort of a dynamic skyline by doing this. What I'm doing is I'm mixing a little bit of ultramarine blue with titanium white. And you know what? Had been practicing a different painting style for like several months, like maybe 10 months now. And so this is kind of going back to an earlier painting style that I had done in the past. I might add into this also on the fly just a little bit of this and it makes kind of a brilliant color. We're going to just see how this works on a red underpainting. I think, however, it will be a successful thing. Maybe not this time, but maybe like the next time I do one of these. Now, this light is gone for the most part. And tonight we're having a full moon. The moon rises at 9:38 over that direction someplace. But so probably what we're going to be doing tonight is we're not going to be finishing this painting. And I'll work until it's dark and I don't have any camera lights or anything out here. So we're just going to spread this color all the way kind of down through the screen and down through it. And so hopefully what's going to happen is that when I do add a little bit of light in there and put a tree in the foreground, that the little bit of the red will show through and make it look as though it is like twilight showing through. That's kind of what the aim is here. But there's also the idea of using underpainting is that if you use an underpainting and you're doing thin layers of of transparent and semi-transparent colors, you can get almost a holographic effect when you look at the final product. So we're gonna come in here and maybe we'll make a maybe like the skyline over here. We're just gonna pull the skyline way down, pull it way on down. So what you're essentially getting tonight is live painting entertainment. And I'm going to probably make it some brown tones here. So maybe what I'm going to do, well, no, I'm still not done with the skyline. We'll just see how fast we can go. And that's actually kind of like a goal in itself, is just to see how fast you can paint. I like the hammer-on effect. You know what makes this hammer-on effect even better is if you are listening to a concert like Coldplay or Nightwish. Nightwish has like a lot of rhythmic tones, and so it makes doing these kind of paintings like that if you got a loud concert playing in the background. But since we're on YouTube and we can't do that because it would just be all copyright, just all these copyright infringements would be happening all over the place if we were to do that. But one of the things I really like, color combination wise, is adding fluorescent red and a blue and blue tones like that, and it makes a really a brilliant purpley or violet color. Which, sometimes you can, maybe we can't see that in the sky today, but if I were to start, this thing is like vibrating loose. It's getting loose on us. Let's see, I'm gonna do some dancing around here, being tethered to a line. We're going to put this on the edge here, paint the edge a bit, coming on down. This is the same rhythmic motions, hammering that paint on. So I'm kind of imagining that I'm listening to a rock band right now. I can almost hear Flora Jensen's voice when she was singing with Nightwish. She doesn't sing for Nightwish anymore. But there are some really good Nightwish live concerts out there. I think some in Wacken, Germany, some of those big metal festivals that they have, and we're just going to bring this color all the way down to a certain degree, all the way down. We want to get kind of like that randomness that you can get like when there's clouds and stuff like that. Random clouds in the sky. And in today's painting, we are doing all student grade paints. These are, for the most part, Amsterdam paints, and then I have some Art Advantage acrylics as well. I think I must have got these like at Fred Meyer or someplace like that a couple years back. I have a lot of these paints on hand, so we're going to do a few more of these paintings throughout the rest of the summer. But now if we go and take a look out over there on the horizon line clear over there, you can see a bit of a tinge of red. And I'm hoping that that tinge of red can come out. We'll do some mountainous things here. I'm going to pull it down a bit. And so I'm going to make it like and so it's not going to be an exact representation, because I like the effect of having a big, giant sky. Is you're just going to look at something and there's going to be this big, giant sky. And so I think I'm going to move over and I'm going to change to a different brush. And so this is like the only time, when I paint like this, is the only time that I'm using that. So I'm going to be making, I'm going to make a brown tone using a little bit of red, and that's primary yellow, and put a bit of black in there. Mixing it up a lot more of that to get the tone that I want. I probably should just use some of that yellow ochre that I have, but you know what? We're not going to use any of that yellow ochre this time. Put some white in there, kind of tone it down so it's kind of a grayish tone. And then put a little more red in there. And kind of, now it looks kind of purpley. I don't really want that tone. So we're just going to add more yellow. I'm going to add more yellow until it gets the desired tone. I probably need a little bit of blue in there too. So, because essentially it's yellow and green makes brown. And right now it's starting to come into being, have a brown, kind of looks like mud right now. And so we're going to add this in here. We're going to add this tone kind of right over here. And we're following the principle that less is more. Less is more. You're not going to do a whole lot of detail in the back, which is okay. I'm dancing around because I got the cord in there. All right, well, what have we got here? The less is more principle. Put this up here, holding the brush clear down at the base. So you get a different kind of control here. Right now, we're just doing a background, kind of building a background here. Let some of that red peek through, and that's great. Just great like that. And then maybe we'll come in here and we'll make a straight green. I'm going to put that in there, just lay that yellow right down on there. Coming right in there. Like there's mountain range clear in the back. Looks a little bit like mustard. Makes you kind of hungry, you know. You want like a ham and cheese sandwich. Lots of mustard on it. Or a hot dog with ketchup and mustard. Now if it doesn't turn out, it's okay, because we're gonna be doing this again. We'll probably do the same image more than once. And we'll put that color straight on the canvas and get it to mix in there. Just faint in the background. Like I said earlier, this is the very first time I have tried a solid red underpainting. But I have seen kind of in other paintings that I've done, I've seen what it could be like to do that. And if you didn't see that, you can actually go back. I went through this last night on how I painted the underpainting. Now, granted, it's relatively simple. Actually, there was more than one color that I used on it. All right. I'm going to add a little white in here. Kind of come up to the foreground, and maybe we'll just kind of put it in here like this. Kind of smear it in a bit. We got the foreground here. Then we got this background in there. But I still just feel, I'm just like kind of like going with the flow here. And that flow tells me that we're just going to use these types of motions a bit. We're bringing the color up a bit, adding some more white to it. Ay, 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 ay. I wonder how Clint's Creative Expressions is doing. All right. Gotta beat the hell out of that brush. Yeah, that's right. Beat the hell out of that brush. Gonna clean it up and beat the hell out of that brush. Just gonna add a little bit more red in here. You know what? I should have a... This paint is really wet. I really need to get a hair dryer. And I don't have an extension cord. I should have set that up. Hair dryer and extension cord. Well, you know what? We're just going to work on this a few more minutes. And then... This is a lot of paint on here and it's kind of muddy. So this is definitely going to be a 2-day painting. Definitely a 2-day painting. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to complete working on the skyline just a little bit more. I'll come back tomorrow. And going to work on that skyline a bit more. Just kind of get things to where it's really just roughed in. What we're really doing is we're just blocking the colors in. Blocking the colors in where the shapes are. And kind of what I like about this method is that you could conceivably think that this was faraway mountains. And with the fantasy of it all, you got some high up grayish tone clouds in there. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do that over here, a little bit more over here. Mainly, we're working out of imagination land, and it's very important to work out of imagination land. And let me see who came in. Okay, we got Julianne Guthrie, welcome. And Mr. Sloth, you subscribe, welcome. Welcome. We're just doing we're just kind of doing a rough colors in because the paint is really wet, and I'm going to finish this tomorrow. And so that is the way this is. Well, it is pretty bright, and there's also there is also kicking in is some of the light stuff. There's a light on right behind me too. The outdoor light's on. But yeah, the moon's going to be rising really soon. But we're going to be working on, getting some of those good Bob Ross, liners, those zingers. Like, you got to beat the hell out of that brush, Got to beat the hell out of that brush. Anyways. That always kind of cracked me up. I'm going to lift this up a bit here. And we're going to work on painting just the top edge a bit. I'm going to put some of these colors in on the top edge a little bit. Kind of get it in there and I put too much paint on the palette. This one time I did a painting like this in my grandniece when she was like 3 years old. I had left this in the garage, and I thought I'd cleaned all the paint off it, but there happened to be just a little bit of black. And my grandniece, she came up and took the finger in the black, and she put some some spots of black on a painting. Then that perfect painting became something else. Of course, at 3 years old, she thought it was the right thing to do. She thought, this is missing something here. It's missing just a little bit. Just a little bit. I still have that painting. Maybe when she's older, I'll give it to her. She's actually a pretty good artist too. I think she's like, I think she's going to be like nine this year in August. She was born with cancer. And when she was between 3 and 5, she went through like 3 rounds of chemotherapy. And the final therapy that she had was a stem cell therapy. And yeah, high up there are amazing things to be seen. And there was just like hundreds of people were praying for. Hundreds of people. You get that power of intention. But a lot of people, believe that putting that intention, that energy out there, that it works. It's a working thing. I'll just be quiet so you can hear the birds. The birds are out there singing. Birds are singing out there. I just want to let that bottom section dry a little bit. There we go. I want it to look less gloopy on the top edge. I'm just kind of come over here. All right, I'm going to take this and clamp it back down. Just like that. Oh. I need to get it clamped good. All right, there we go. I'm going to go look at the screen again, see how all y'all are doing. Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, you'll be back a little bit later. I'm just going to be on probably, been on for 25 minutes, and I want to stay on until the moon rises up, and so in a few minutes I'm going to quit because you can only do this heavy-bodied paints in here for so long before it just turns into mud. And so that's kind of the drawback about using heavy-bodied paints, especially when you don't have a hairdryer handy. So the making a full painting is really difficult in that, because it's that in one setting, because you need to allow time for drying and for dry times. But I kind of like, what I really like about this is how the clouds look, how these clouds that I'm making, how they look in the sky. I'm going to leave that red in there to peeking through red. You know, it's really time I did another paint off. I know Mama Sushi has mentioned that she would like to do a paint off with me, and I would really like to do a paint off soon. Probably, I mean, another paint off this month. And I think, because I got like this headphone splitter thing, so I can do a headphone and a mic, and I think that it worked. I tested out last night on a Zoom conversation, and people could hear me just fine, and I could hear them. So, which means I can do daytime live streams with guests now, and providing it doesn't rain or anything. I'm going to come and bring this clear down there. A lot more of this. We'll just run it on here, more heavy-bodied. It's going to be blended into this part of the background. We want to use up this paint, actually. I just don't want to let it go to waste, so we're just going to try and use it up as much as possible. I'm going to put a lot of blue down here by the horizon. I'm going to mix in some of this fluorescent red just to get those purpley tones that are just brilliant. These brilliant purpley, bluish tones when you add in, because it looks like a faraway mountain, and I like that effect. All right, blessed Galileo. Okay, all right. You were thinking Galileo, or all right. Well, anyways, we're gonna move on here and see what we can do here. This is starting to dry a little bit. It's still a little bit I think I'm gonna come in here with some more red tones, and then I'm gonna layer right over on top of that red some of this yellow. Then what will happen is tomorrow I will be adding a tree in the foreground. I think we'll go back in, and I guess I've been mixing my brushes up too much. Oh well, it's fine, right? We're just blocking the colors in now. We're blocking the shapes in. And yeah, color blocking. And tomorrow, when this thing is dry, we'll be adding some more layers on it, and then it will be it'll start to take shape a little bit better. So we're going to come in down here. I'm just going to take this bottom edge and paint the bottom edge a bit. And then I'll turn the camera around and we'll hang out a bit. Kind of relax and I get ready for my next live stream on Tools of Fortune at 11:44 p.m. Last night I streamed on it for 3 hours and I didn't believe, it was unbelievable that it just went that long. And I did 6 readings, and well, actually Spirit did 6 readings for me. That's really what happened. It was really an amazing experience. Kind of nervous to go back on again because it was such a powerful experience. And yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. Well, I like this on the side a bit. I know that with some more layers in here, I can shape this a little bit better and make it more greeny and so forth. And I'm gonna beat the hell out of that brush here. Clean the brush. And the paint is really thick and heavy here. But let's just see. Let's just push some of it in, just gently. We'll push it in here and get it to mix. It's always a good experience to paint upside down. I've done it a few times. Because you just don't know what's going to happen. You know, the unexpected happens when you turn things around. It's got that whole hangman. It's that whole hangman sort of a perspective change when you look at the world from a different angle. It's kind of like, you know, when I used to do, I would walk around town like I was looking through a camera. I would walk around town with a camera, actually, essentially. You know remember those disposable film cameras? Well, I'd walk around town looking through the viewfinder on a disposable camera, and then just to see, you know, just to frame up the world in just a different point of view. And that's kind of a large degree how I taught myself how to be a painter and so forth. It's because of that early prep work, looking at the world differently, or, you know, take those rare moments when you could walk out in the middle of a busy street and take a picture. Cars whipping around you and anyways, we'll see what comes out of this. I'm really looking forward to part 2. It's probably gonna be more than 2 parts to finish this. Might be like 3 parts. Yeah. All right. Well, I need to let this dry for a bit. And let's see what happens. Let's go see if the moon is out yet. I forgot to ask if the stream was clear. It should rise over here. The instructions said 9:38, but then there's cloud cover. So maybe with the cloud cover, we ain't gonna see no moon. All right. Let's see, what have we got here? Let's just change the direction. Wait, how did my... got caught in something there. All right. Let's see what happens here. All right, well, here I am. Here I am. This is what I look like if you've never seen me before. 999 show, and you know, at least, you know, when I'm out here in the dark like this, you can't tell that I need to shave. I did forget to shave. Anyways, I think it's like 9:15 now, so that means that the moon is going to be rising in like, might be 9:20. It's going to be rising like 15-20 minutes. I'm not so sure where though. Anyhow, how is all you guys doing? John and Julianne. Mr. Sloth. Oh, I see, that was Galo. Welcome, Galo. Welcome, and thank you for subscribing. This isn't what I don't always do this. And Viola player, if you're still here, welcome. Anyways. Mama Sushi, welcome. Welcome. I'm going to let the painting dry for like 5-10 minutes, and then a few minutes, and then we'll go back and look at it. We got the last rays of light. And Mama Sushi, I didn't realize it happened, but I streamed last night on Tools of Fortune for 3 hours almost, for just a few seconds shy of 3 hours. I'm still kind of feel like I have a late night live stream hangover. A hangover from... Yeah. Well, you know, what, did I step on another goddamn slug? I did. Shit. Sorry about my language. They seem to be congregating over here. Yeah, I was like finishing that stream, and I think, oh my god, I gotta go pee really bad. Let's go just a little bit different over here, different angle. I know, too much. TMI. I get it. Yeah, well, I hadn't actually even drank any water for that whole time too, and I have some vague recollections about what happened. I didn't go back and review it. Oh, it meant you. Yeah, well, exactly. Exactly, you know. I hate stepping on slugs. Just really dislike it. It feels weird on the bottom of your feet, but yeah, we overshare. Don't we all overshare? Isn't that just the way it is? We're kind of anyways, get that light. It's just gathering up all the light there. It almost looks like it's kind of cool lighting effect out there. I have a new phone arriving next week. But what I need to do is see if I can swing it to get a one of those first-person POV phone holders, right, that goes right on your chest here, so that when I do these outdoor live streams, that you can get that first-person POV rather than me putting the camera behind me and looking in. You know, this whole YouTube thing, you end up like spending tons of money on on equipment and everything. It's just part and par of the whole game there. Yeah. Yeah, anyways. Yep, that's it. Anyways, I probably should. Yeah, that is. You just like spend lots of money on it. It's like amazing. You know, I got tripods. This tripod I'm using here is really chintzy and cheap, and you know, a strong wind could just blow the thing over. Makes me kind of nervous. I do have a more heavy duty tripod, which I haven't really used in a long time. But that means I need to get another phone holder connector thing. So I have the one that came stock on this tripod, and I have the other one that I have attached to my craft room setup. So that's two, and I have another one that's too small for this Motorola phone design, because it's a big phone, and it'll probably be too small for the other one that's coming too. And it would be nice if I could start using, like, actually. So you brought two tripods and they all suck. Yeah. Well, you know what works the best, Mama Sushi? If when you come back, I'll just let you. I'll just explain what works the best for if you're doing art and stuff like that. But yeah. Oh, it's nice and peaceful. You know, I really want to go camping. I was just thinking about that today. How much I'd like to go camping on the coast, like at South Beach State Park. And that's in Newport. It's like my most favorite campgrounds in the entire state that I've been to. And, you know, it would be like, okay, you know, for like $500, or, you know, what I would like is to spend, I don't have the money for this, and I have to get somebody to watch over Mom for that whole time too. But what I'd like would be to spend like 9 nighs in a yurt in South Beach State Park. And so if you were to like look at that, look on the map, and you can see that. And if you actually kind of Google that place, the beach is just wonderful. Like there's like from the campground clear to the jetty, because there's like a jetty where the boats come out, because it's Newport is, yes, it is a tourist city, but it isn't as much of a touristy city as like Seaside and Lincoln City are, because there's an extension of OSU Oh, you dreamed of a yurt last night. Yeah, it's been like since 2014 the last time I stayed in a yurt. It's when I had like days off on like Wednesday and Thursday when I was like working at the casino, and it was easy to book those, those times in like in September, late August and September, because generally the Wednesday and Thursday time spots towards late August and September, they were open. But if you had like, of course, if you have your like days off on Friday and Saturday, there's no way in the summertime that unless you book when the calendar opens up in January, can you get a weekend time spot at South Beach State or any campground on the coast that have yurts and everything else. But you can get like tent spots and stuff like that and things like that. But still, when it gets like into the best season to go camping, which is like August and September and actually October. Those are actually the 3 best months to go camping on the coast. But October is kind of iffy. But if you September is like the one where you can guarantee you. It's not a guarantee that you're going to have good weather, but it's likely you're going to have better weather than like, let's say like June or July. So the better weather starts kind of around towards the bottom of July, August, September, and about halfway through October. And so, yeah, it's a good time to go camping. But that's what I want. I really just want to go camping bad. Like I say, like 7-10 days down at the coast. Ain't gonna happen, but anyways, yeah, nice to go camping. One time I went down. I think it was at South. No, it was at Bob Schwab State Park in Newport. I think it was there. No, or it was. I don't know. It was one of those. It was either in Newport or Pacific City, where. Oh, hi, Misty. So you'd like to do that too? Go camping? Yeah. And I was at one of those places, and people threw an impromptu wedding right on the. I think it was in. I'd like to think it was at Bob Schwab State Park in Pacific City. But it was like one of those. It was like, the types of weddings that I like going to is that type of wedding in which that maybe they only spent like $1,000 total for the whole thing. Like your wedding dresses and your wedding clothes, and that it's not like thousands of dollars. And then they whipped out a barbecuer and let's see if I can do this. So they whipped out a barbecue unit, and they had like barbecued hot dogs and hamburgers or whatever. And this wedding party, there was like 20 people there. They brought their own chairs and everything. They had that down at the beach, and I've been to a few weddings like similar to that where there was potlucks at the reception. Of course, it wasn't potluck where I had to bring anything. The family just provided they provided all the food. The wedding ceremony was at St. James Catholic Church in McMinnville, and I went at the bachelor party. It was like no booze. It was just a night of playing video games, and that was like in the times when the PlayStation 1 was just out, and so that was like a great bachelor party. The worst bachelor party I ever went to was at a strip club in Portland or Milwaukee. I think it was I can almost remember the name of it, but it was like all that booze we had, and I consumed a little bit, and I think I had like a tequila sunrise for the first time there, and it was cheap tequila, bad tequila, and I swear to God that I could taste that tequila 20 years later. And I think that bachelor party was, I think it was like late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, something like that. Because I think they've been close to being married for 40 years now. Yeah, I don't know, but something like that. But yeah, but that was always like me when I think about, but I've been to a lot of weddings that were, like one of my cousins, she got married at the Columbia Gorge Hotel, on the Columbia Gorge or something like that, and I think it was a McMinimum, but I don't, maybe it wasn't. It might be a McMinimum's now, and yeah, those $5,000 or those $1,200 weddings, and those are the ones. Those, like I said, those are the ones I've always liked the best. And so if I were to ever get married, that's what I would do. I would do a Justice of the Peach. I would go to the Justice of the Peace and do the whole. Now when I was younger, I would have wanted a Catholic wedding. But as I get older, that's really not all that important anymore. But anyway, so like, yeah, that's right. You don't have to spend too much, and so you have a party and have a great time and so forth. And so like my cousin, she had a wedding down on the Columbia Gorge at some fancy hotel, and I know that they spent like $50,000 on it. Well, that wedding, that marriage only lasted about 6 months. It was like 6 months. Yeah, Greek food. Yeah, I like Greek food too, with the pita. Misty? Have you had Ethiopian before, when they have that spongy, flat sourdough like pancake like bread? That kind of stuff. Yeah, and I got like company coming over on Saturday for a short time, and then my aunt, so my mom's youngest sister, has a 50th wedding anniversary party in Salem, and coming up on Sunday. So there ain't gonna be too much 999 show or Tools of Fortune over the weekend. It'll be, but anyways. As you've seen the trends on it, yeah. It's like, let me see. When one of my cousins, he married. They had two wedding receptions. One in Portland, and then one in like L.A. or someplace like that. I think the wedding was at L.A., but they did a second ceremony up in. It was that McMinimum's in Portland, it's the Kennedy School. It was like 2019, the fall of 2019, and which I thought, like other people, they do these weddings, and there may be these destination weddings or whatever, and it's like, most people can't afford to go to them, and I think, well, why don't you just see what seems wise? If you want to like spend like $5,000-$10,000 on a wedding in Acapulco or something like that, it's like, well, I don't know. If you have family here and you have family there, you just have like a celebration in one state and then a celebration in another state. That just seems like a logical thing to do, rather than I don't know. But you know, people live their lives and they do the stuff they like to do, right? And that's the way it is. Anyways, I wasn't really planning on coming on for an hour, so it's pretty close to save money for the honeymoon. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you save money for anyways. That trip to wherever you want to go. But then, you know, Misty, when you like go back in time and you look at like my folks when they got married, that was in like Augustana Lutheran Church in Portland. The wedding reception was at one of my father's aunt's house, or maybe it was in their parents' backyard or something like that. And then they went to Disneyland for the you know, you want to go to the Maldives, yeah, before they get sucked into the sea, yeah. I've always wanted to like go to the Great Barrier Reef too, but you know, I don't really feel like stepping onto an airplane. I don't really feel like stepping onto any airplanes anytime soon. Anyway, I can't. I never got that real ID yet, so I'm still on my old ID, so I can't leave and go anywhere. And anyways, that's the way it is. Yeah, you don't have that ID either. Yeah. Don't want to go on the airplane. Yeah. Yeah. I just like, you know, if I would have won the Oregon lottery, like if I won it last night, I would put I would want to get very little things, very few things. But one of the things that's on my wish list of things is you're listening, but your baby's getting to sleep. Yeah. Well, my wish list would be to have like an Airstream trailer, or that one that's the next level down, and the painted ones, an Airstream trailer. Yeah. With all the crashes going on. Yeah, exactly. Or doors falling off and stuff like that. Yeah, you don't want to. And anyway, being on cooped up on those airplanes for hours and hours on end, you know, you can't. Yeah, I like the train too. And so like it would be like that, or another like dream vacation would be to take the train across the United States, because I've never been east of Idaho. I don't know. I mean, I've never been anywhere. I've been to Hawaii. I visited California briefly a couple different times. I've been to Washington because I lived in Washington. I've been to Vancouver, BC, and Victoria, and I've been to Israel and Denmark, and that's it. And haven't really been anywhere in my life. Yeah, the train. So what would be like a dream vacation would be to take the train down on the southern route and go across, you know, get a sleeper car, get a sleeper car, and one of those, you know, and then plan it so you're gonna get off at the Grand Canyon and maybe go through those monument places, some of those landscapes, so you can. So yeah. So you have been to a lot of places, yeah. Go across there, and go into some, you know, zigzag across the country, go to some interesting places, you know, go through Chicago, go through some of these mega big cities, go through, go up the eastern seaboard. I would like to maybe stop off at Plymouth Rock and see where my ancestors, you know, the John Howland House, to see that. Go maybe stop in at Ohio to see where my mother's ancestors, because there was a house that they had bought in like 1800, and then they stayed there till like the 1920s, and then they came out to Oregon. And that was my grandmother. And then go up to Canada, and then come clear across Canada, and go to different places in Canada, and then come back all the way down, a big giant loop on my North American continental train tour. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna get off, and I'm gonna get prepared for my next live stream. I got to charge the phone up, and yeah, well, of course, I was born here, and and born here, and yeah, I'd be just content, like I said earlier, to go spend like 10 nights or 9 nights in a yurt at South Peak State Park, or to go spend that much time in Seaside. I love Seaside as well. Anyways, I'm gonna get off the phone. Yeah, that's it. I'm on the phone. Get off the camera here. Gonna pack up the easel, and we're gonna work on that painting again tomorrow for a little while, and then the next time we'll be doing a live stream for 999 shows on Monday, because I don't think that I'm going to get a chance to do it on Saturday or on Sunday. Yeah, I'll have a great night and pack up my easel or my paints and everything, and we'll do some more painting tomorrow afternoon. But I got to clean house. It may not happen at all. So we're just going to play it by ear. I really want to see if I can do at least another half hour on that canvas that we started on, and then finish mowing my yard, and then cut that grass in front of the barn, the shop there. And let's see, that's what I got to do. And then I got to do a bunch of housework cleaning stuff, and then that way, yeah, anyways, maybe wash the car too. I got to do that as well. All right, thank you all. Sorry that I went through a list in my head of the things that I need to do. I'm all too comfortable here, aren't I? All right, thank you, Misty. Thank you, Mama Sushi. Thank you, Julianne. Thank everybody else, and was John, and the new people who subscribed, and everyone else. And we'll see all the next time. Bye-bye.